Good morning, everyone. Peace upon you all. By the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. How are you, girls? I hope you are all okay. Today is Sunday, 29th of November 2020, 14th of Rabi al-Akhir 1442. Today we are going to take, inshallah, unit 3. Click on to page 37. We are going to work on this paragraph. It's about learning to speak Klingon, okay? We have very important outcomes. We are going to learn about this or other languages. Then we are going to match the words with the definitions, okay? Now, look at your books, please. We have here, we're not going to take this one, okay, because it's a language with no numbers. It's about listening. You are going to listen to this to answer the questions. We're not going to take it. We're going to take this one, learning to speak Klingon, okay? Now, the G is silent, Klingon. Now, before we start, we are going to read the inside information, then do the word poster, then we are going to get to the text, okay? Now, look at the inside information. Like the first Star Trek series appeared in 1966. The series was popular in many countries for many years. We are going to talk about, it's a language, it was invented, I believe, in 1982. It talks about, aliens. They came from other planets, I think, and we're going to talk or to discuss how this language be invented, okay, or was invented. Now, there are over 10 Star Trek films. It's a film, okay, it's a story. In 2009, the story of Star Trek began again with the 11th film. Then Star Trek fans are mad about the films and series. They have a special name, Trekkies or Trekkers, okay, Trekkers, and they have regular conversations. We are going to talk about a language in detail, the name of it, what is it, and when did it appear, okay? Now look at word poster. We are going to match the words and the definitions. We have number 1, alien. If you remember, we took it in page 36. On page 36, we said that alien, it means unusual, but here we're going to take it as what? Look at B. Alien here, it means what? It means from another planet, okay? As I told you in the beginning. So we say number 1 goes with B, from another planet, okay? Number 2, violence, it's what? It's use of physical force to attack others. Violence, it means to use physical force, force? Like power or something to attack others. Okay? Number 2, it's what? Use of physical force to attack others. C. Number 3, familiar. Familiar, it means it's what? Describe that someone is known for others, or in another word, it's what? It's known, okay? It's again, familiar means to describe something that people know well, okay? It goes with number E. Number 3, E, okay? Number 4, annual. It means what? Annual, it means once a year, every year, once a year. It goes with D. Number 4, D. Number 5, the last one, chatting. It's what? Chatting means talking to a friend or talking in a friendly way, which goes with A. Talking with a friendly way or in a friendly way, okay? Now we're going to start the text. Look at this text. We have learning to speak Klingon, okay? Now, the Klingons are an alien race. They first appeared in the science fiction. As you know that we don't have any aliens in the real life, but this is from the science fiction, okay? So they first appeared in the science fiction TV series Star Trek. The Klingons love violence and war, and they have their own language, okay? I'm going to write 2 questions on the board. You are going to read the next paragraph and answer them with me, okay? Stay with me. Now, look at the board here. We're going to answer these questions. Who invented the Klingon language? What did Ockrent invent too? Can everyone speak this language? Number 4, where they can speak this language. Number 5, can anyone understand this language? We are going to read now. You know that this language, or the people who use this language, they have to wear the costume that suits this language. Okay, we are talking about, you know, it's like a film or a story written, or conversations. They were written by someone. We are going to read now to know about it more. Okay, now look at the second paragraph. The inventor of the Klingon language was Mark Okrand. Okay, Okrand has a PhD in linguistics. You know, linguistics, I told you before, it's how to pronounce letters in English. In Arabic, it means علم الصوتيات, linguistics. Okay, he began working on Star Trek in 1982. Okay, a friend of a friend told him that they were looking for a linguist, you know, to write short dialogue in Vulcan, the language of the famous character Mr. Spooky. You know, this is a character, and this person, Okrand, he was a linguist. He was asked to write a conversation or a dialogue in Vulcan, the language of this person who Captain Spock. I think it's in a film. Okay, now Okrand wrote the dialogue and enjoyed it. Deal? 2 years later, they asked him to write a few words for some scenes. Okay, in Klingon. Okay, after that he was asked to write few words for some scenes in Klingon. This time he didn't just only write words or a few words. He invented a complete grammar. What did he do? What did he also invent? He also invented a new grammar. This grammar has some familiar and some unfamiliar elements. What did we say about the familiar? We said that it means that people, or describe something that people already know. Okay, but here in this language, the grammar was familiar and unfamiliar for some people. Okay, one unusual thing is the word order. The thing that was unusual about the grammar of this language, it was the order of the words. Okay, now over 300,000 people bought the Klingon dictionary, written by whom? By Okrand. Okay, but there are probably only 2,000 people in the world can speak. Look at this one. Can everyone speak this language? No. Only 2,000 people in the world can speak Klingon. Many can speak Klingon. Okay. Many of these people, now we are going to move to this one. Many of these people only know a word or two, not the whole conversation. The whole words or the grammar. Only one or two. Okay. But some invent poems and stories, or write translations, including translations of Shakespeare's. Okay, now, but one thing, look at this one. But it is one thing to write Klingon, and it's another thing to speak it. I think it's very difficult to write something in the written, and the spoken differs than the written. He wrote, the thing they wrote differs than the spoken language. Okay. Now, but it's one thing to write Klingon, and it's another thing to speak it. Okay, there are only 20 or 30 people who can have a conversation in Klingon. Imagine that. From the whole world, from the 2,000 who know this language, the 2,000, maybe 20 or 30 can speak or can make conversation. Okay, there is an annual Klingon conference. This is the number 4. Where are we? An annual, that this conference it happens every year. Okay, there is an annual Klingon conference, and it's one of the few places where people can have these conversations, where they can speak. Now, where can they speak this language? They can speak it in conference. Okay, in the conference that they make, or they have every year, or annual year. Okay. Now, I went to one of their conference in 2007. This is the Arika Orkent. This is the writer who wrote the text. what does she say, or her impression? On the first afternoon of the conference it means مؤتمر, okay? People meet each other and they can, anyone give a speech or something, and they can have or exchange their opinions, okay? Now, on the first afternoon of the conference, I saw a small group of people around a table, okay? They were talking in Klingon, slowly, and using dictionaries a lot. The dictionary that we mentioned before, the Klingon dictionary, okay? They were using dictionaries to use this language, and in a very slow way, okay? Because it's very difficult. And as we said, this is the language of aliens. They are aliens from other planets, okay? And all of that is what? It's science fiction, okay? Not real. Now, and of course, not the conference, no, the idea of the language, the idea of the aliens, the idea of all of that is what is science fiction, okay? It's like a film or like a story. But here, the conference is real, okay? Now, they were talking in Klingon slowly and using dictionaries a lot, but they were communicating. They were communicating, even though the language was difficult. It was very hard to or very slow to make the conversation or to speak to each other, but they were communicating, even though, you know that if we have people, they have different languages, but I think they can communicate maybe through the facial expressions, through the eyes, through the hands, and also you know that this language is very rare one, that to understand what does the other side wants to talk to you or to give you a message, okay? They were communicating, even though it was very difficult language for them, but they were able to communicate, okay? Now, where did we reach? Yes. Now, they were talking in Klingon slowly. I'm here on the paragraph before the last one. And using dictionaries a lot, but they were communicating. I sat and I listened. I was happy when I at last and I understood my first spoken Klingon sentence. What was the sentence? Look at this one. The sentence was Ha dibaha subaba. It means animal. I eat not, which is in English, I am vegetarian. I don't eat meat. Okay? Deal? Look at the order of the words. This is very strange. And as I said, this is the language of the aliens, as it's mentioned in the film or in the story, because it's a science fiction story. Now, the last paragraph. Later at the conference, I met two people who were chatting in Klingon. You know, they were chatting, they were having a friendly talk, okay, in the Klingon language. They were Captain Cranker and his friends Agnieszka, okay? When he is wearing his Klingon costume, okay? Cranker only speaks Klingon because he's wearing, maybe the idea that when he is wearing this costume and using this language, it's what he is titling the language or the people who comes from or the aliens he come from, okay? That's why when he wore this costume, because he wants to show others or other people that he is, for example, this character, and he's from he's using the Klingon language and he's an alien from other planet, okay? Now, he travels with a guitar and sings Klingon translations of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, okay? Because he was maybe obsessed about this language. He travels, he used the guitar and sing using the Klingon translations of the Beatles. He used some songs and he translate them to this language. Then he sing these songs and he enjoys this, okay? Now we have reached to the end of this text. It was a very nice one. We are going to move to the workbook. Stay with me, please, okay? Now let's move to your workbook, page 24. We're going to do this text. It's about Latin language, okay? Cross-curricular languages, Latin. Now, we have this text, it's about Latin. Read the text and choose the best title. We have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to ask you to not to look at these titles. I'm going to write this one for you after we finish reading the text, okay? I'm going to give this head or this title, or I'm going to write it on the board now after we finish the text, okay? Now look, this is an email. It's about Latin language. Read with me, please, and follow me. Latin may be a dead language, maybe, but many people use or recognize some Latin. For example, etc. Look at this one, etc. It means etc. Okay, IE, it means what? Or DIST, it means status quo. It means the existing now or situation. Okay, or the meanwhile now. Deal. Now we have magnum, ops, and etc. We don't need them. Okay. Now I'm going to vice versa. To vice versa, we're going to start reading. It's also widely used in certain fields such as medicine. These Latin words, they are used where? Such in medicine, botany, and law, as well as in inscriptions. Okay, British coins still have Latin writing on them. The British people, they use some Latin words on their coins. Do you know coins? Okay, coins, you know. I don't have one. الشقروش, الcoin, العملة. Nowadays, organizations such as the Living Latin Movement encourage the use of the language for real. It means this language is not dead, okay? They encourage to use this language, okay? The present day. Now let's go to the second paragraph. Nowadays, what happened? We have organizations. These organizations, its main job to what? To encourage the use of the language, of the Latin language for real and in their daily life. Look at this one. We have nowadays organizations such as the Living Latin Movement encourage the use of the language for real, present day communication. It means in their daily life, okay? The rise of the internet has, made this growth, okay? Make it possible. Deal? They make the growth of the or the use of the Latin language, it make it easier and it's easy to grow and possible. Why? Because of the internet. You know that you can search and you can find the thing or the word or the language easily, okay? Now, a number of newspapers and periodicals written in Latin exist, okay? You know, newspapers and periodicals, they are magazines. They are magazines that they are published regularly every month, I think, or every week, I don't know. Okay, such as ephemeris, which is in Arabic اللي هو التقويم الفلكي, ephemeris. Okay, ephemeris. Yes, there are also certain radio stations. We have radio stations which report current news stories in Latin. Okay, we have some stations, radio stations, they give the reports and current news stories in Latin, okay? Like Radio Bremen in Germany and Radio Finca in Finland, okay? Occasionally, they import a foreign word. They do not take a foreign word from the Latin or a phrase to describe a modern idea. Look at this one. But a Latin equivalent is given where possible. But if they have a Latin word that suits this modern idea, they will take it, and if it's possible, they will use it. Stay with me, please. Now, look at this example, but in a Latin equivalent is given where possible. We have, for example, emails. It's in the Latin language, it's what? An inscriptio cursus electroniki, okay? Again, the emails means in Latin, and inscriptio cursus electroniki, okay? Now, Latin is growing in popularity as a school subject in parts of the USA and the UK, okay? More than 500 state secondary schools in Britain now offer it, okay? A four-fold increases in 10 years. Deal? Now, luckily, schools can copy with the shortage of Latin teachers. Why? Because there are lots of materials and courses in Latin on the internet. Look at this idea. Like, luckily, fortunately, it means schools can copy with the shortage. They can handle this shortage of the Latin teachers. Why? Because they have there are a lot of materials in the Latin courses and courses in the Latin language were on the internet. Okay, now it is thought that the interest in the ancient world, more traditional views about education, and perhaps the Harry Potter books were the magic spells that they were used. They, rebirth for this language. Look at this one. Where the magic spells are Latin based. They were from the Latin language. They have helped to popularize. 1 minute. Now, this kind of use of the language, they, as I said, make the language popular more. Look at this one. They have helped to popularize this old and difficult language. As I said, they rebirthed the use of this language. In 2012, Tolkien's famous novel The Hobbit was published in Latin. This is one of the modern stories or novels that was published in what? In Latin. Okay, now let's move to word booster. We have matched the words and the definitions. Number 1, inscriptions is what? Number A, magazines on a particular subject which is published regularly, or B, periodical, a piece of, an inscription. Which one? Yes, B, a piece of writing cut into something, especially as a record of achievement or honor. C, the scientific study of plants. Of course, number 1, it's what goes with B. Number 1, word poster. Okay, poster. Number 1 goes with B. Deal. Number 2, of course, inscription is what? It's a piece of writing cut into something, especially as a record of achievement or honor. Number B, periodical. It's A, a magazine on a particular subject which is published regularly, which goes with A. Number 3, the last one, botany, it's what? Is the scientific study of plants. Okay, علم النباتات. Deal? Now we're going to go to number 2, read the text again and complete the sentence. Try to do the number question 2 and 3. We're going to take only these 2 and 3, and we're going to write the idea that I mentioned from the beginning. Okay, stay with me please. Now let's look at question number 2. Read the text again and complete the sentences. 1. There are some objects in daily use which use Latin inscriptions, such as what? The news in Latin every day. If you remember, we mentioned this. A number of newspapers and periodicals written in Latin exist, such as ephemeris, which is the, as I said, the in Arabic, التقويم الفلكي. Okay, ephemeris. Now I'm going to write it down, then return back to you. Okay, we said the news in Latin every day. Number 2, Latin is still used in modern publications and broadcasts today. For example, we have Elvis Presley songs in Latin. You know Elvis Presley? He was a very popular singer. 1 minute. As I said, number 2, Elvis Presley songs in Latin. Number 3, we have some modern classic novels have been translated into Latin. For example, this one. Remember The Hobbit. I'm going to write it down here. The Hobbit, okay? This is a modern novel that was published in Latin. Okay? The Hobbit, yes. Hoppit. Now, let's move to number 3. Correct the false sentences. We have Latin is only used in scientific fields. No, this is false. Incorrect. It was used where... did you answer the questions I forgot to ask you? Did you answer this question or not? Take 1 second. I'm going to write the answer on the board and try to do it by yourself, okay? Now, as we said, Latin is only used in scientific fields. I said false. There are many programs in Latin, okay? We have a program, its names, I think, Lantini, for teaching this language, okay? Now, we have sentence 2. On the radio stations mentioned, foreign words are simply borrowed for all present day ideas. Yes, correct. I mentioned this during our reading. Correct, yes. This one here, occasionally they import a foreign word or phrase to describe a modern idea. This one in the end of the second paragraph. Now, number 3, Latin is becoming more commonly studied as a school subject in some English-speaking countries. What do you think? Yes, correct. Yes, it is. Yes, true. This is correct. Okay? Now, stay with me. Now, we have reached to the end of the text. But we have one question left. If you remember, I told you read this text and choose the best title. I asked you to leave all of these 1, 2, and 3 and add this one. This one is the correct title, which is what? Look here. Latin isn't a dead language. This is correct. It's not a dead language, okay? As we mentioned, the spells in the Harry Potter films and some words, we use them in our daily life, okay? This means this language is not dead. Do you know that this language in the past was like as the English language now, okay? Now, I forgot to tell you about these. These are pictures of or examples of the Latin words, okay? And this is, I think, the coin we mentioned in the previously, sorry. I have to finish the class now. Thank you very much for being with me. We finished click onto about the Klingon language. It's about alien language, okay? And we finished the text in the workbook about the Latin language. Thank you very much for being with me. See you inshallah tomorrow. Goodbye. Thank you. And also, sorry, we accomplished our important outcomes. We learned about other languages and we matched the word with the definitions. So thank you very much for being with me. Goodbye.